She gets things done and she takes on the power. She took on President Bush, and when they tried to stop Plan B, she held up his nomination for FDA and forced him to act and put science above ideology. She has more qualifications for this job to change the direction of our country than anyone in this race. And if you are looking for a winner, she is the only Democratic candidate who has taken on the full might of the Republican political machine and come out the winner. Hillary Clinton knows how to win. She did it in 2000, she did it in 2006, and she's going to take back our country in 2008. Please welcome the first woman president to be Senator Hillary Clinton.
Thank you. Good morning. Are you ready to take back America? Well, I am ready to, and I'm so pleased to be here with so many people who share our goals about making sure that we get our country back. I want to thank my friend Ellen Malcolm. You know, in a very real way, I'm not sure I'd be standing here running for president if Ellen Malcolm hadn't had the idea for Emily's List and elected so many Democratic women. I want to thank Roger Hickey and Bob Borisage and all of you for keeping this movement going, because make no mistake about it, we have a lot of work to do. You know, later today, apparently the president will veto a bill passed by Congress to support stem cell research. Now, this is research that you can tell by the response, you know, holds such promise for devastating diseases. Yesterday, I met with a group of children suffering from juvenile diabetes. I co-chair the Alzheimer's Caucus in the Senate. I've worked on helping to boost funding for research to look for cures and a way to prevent so many devastating diseases. And we know that stem cell research holds the key to our understanding more about what we can do. So let me be very clear. When I am president, I will lift the ban on stem cell research. This is just one example of how the president puts ideology before science, politics before the needs of our families. Just one more example of how out of touch with reality he and his party have become. And it's just one more example as to why we're going to send them packing in January 2009 and return progressive leadership to the White House. And I know that you're going to be on the front lines making that happen, because after the 6.5 years and by the end of 2008, the 8 years of this administration, we are ready and looking for the kind of leadership and citizenship that will make a difference in America again. Because it's not just leadership that we have to focus on. It's what you're doing. It is your activism. It is the organizations that have been formed in the last 6.5 years to give voice to the great movement that you're part of. From the Campaign for America's Future to the Center for American Progress, from Media Matters to Move On, your voices have made a difference in the debate. Because of you, we now have a Democratic majority, and we need to grow that Democratic majority. But it's not always just the headlines that demonstrate how seriously off track we are in America. I want to talk to you about a woman by the name of Lilly Ledbetter. Now, Lilly Ledbetter worked at the Firestone plant in Gadsden, Alabama for nearly 20 years. She was the only woman working as a supervisor. And to be honest about it, she wasn't treated very well. She was harassed, she was subjected to demeaning comments, but she persevered because it was a good job for a woman in Alabama to help support her family, and she stuck it out. Toward the end of her time at Firestone, she made a shocking discovery. She had never been paid the same as the other men holding the same position, doing the same job as she was. She was paid less even for people who had come on the job later than she and who were junior to her. So she did something very brave. She brought a lawsuit against the company under the Equal Pay Act. And the evidence was overwhelming, and she won. But the company appealed to the Supreme Court. And just a few weeks ago, reversing 40 years of legal precedent, the Supreme Court, with the 2 justices appointed by President Bush, ruled against Lilly Ledbetter. They said she hadn't filed her case in time. Well, we're going to try to fix that in the Congress and fill that loophole. But when you still meet people who say politics doesn't matter, that elections don't matter, that we're all the same, and I hear it and I know you do too, remind them about somebody named Lilly Ledbetter and talk to them about all of the issues where a change in leadership, where different people appointed to our courts would make a huge difference in the lives of people doing the very best they can in America. Because too many people today, they feel like they're invisible to their government. They're working as hard as they can. All they're asking for is to be given a fair chance to go as far as they can go and to give their kids a chance. And that's what we always believed we had in America, didn't we? But now people feel invisible. And not only do they feel invisible, they have reason to believe that they are being rendered invisible. You know, our Constitution is being shredded. We know about the secret wiretaps. We know about the secret military tribunals, the secret White House email accounts. We've seen U.S. attorneys fired to silence them because they didn't bring bogus lawsuits against Democrats during election years. We've seen government scientists silenced, information taken off of government websites. We've seen retaliation against those in the government who stood up to this administration. We all watched, stunned and heartsick, as a natural disaster was turned into a national disgrace along our Gulf Coast after Katrina. We saw families stranded while their government paid no attention to them and was late in coming to help. We had to give a special DVD to the president to pay attention while bodies were floating down the streets of New Orleans. And we know that the war in Iraq has been catastrophic for our country and for our position in the world. It has taken a human toll beyond measure. And it is honestly hard to believe that one of these things could happen in America, but all of them have. It is a stunning record of secrecy and corruption, of cronyism run amok. It is everything our founders were afraid of, everything our Constitution was designed to prevent. And our families have paid the price. They're the ones who are struggling with rising costs and falling wages. They're working harder than ever in the last 6 years Productivity, which measures how hard Americans work because we are the hardest working people in the world, has gone up 18%, but the average family income has fallen $1,300. We have now more than 45 million people living without health care and millions more who are underinsured. And what does that mean? Well, you have an insurance policy, except when your doctors say you need a certain treatment and the insurance companies say, just kidding. We know that we have 12 million children living in poverty. We had more people going bankrupt last year than graduating from college. Yet these are all invisible to the president and his administration. If you're one of those 75,000 households still living in trailers, and I visited one a few weeks ago, it was hot, it was stuffy. You can't even imagine that the elderly woman whose home I visited, who invited me into that FEMA trailer, could have lived there now for nearly 2 years. Well, she and all the thousands of others are invisible. And we know that for those who worry about passing on this huge debt that has been blown up in the last 6 years, because remember, 6 years ago we had a balanced budget and a surplus.